Our first topic that we wanted to talk about was about really financing. We have 4 entrepreneurs here, but we all came from a different place before we started our companies. And I think maybe if we could have a conversation about how we started out, where we came from, and then how we became an entrepreneur, and then what financing we used to actually start our companies. So did you want to start with yours, Lauren?
Sure. My background is actually in architecture and urban design, and I started out in green building consulting for many years in New York City. I worked on commercial buildings, office towers, hotels, and airports, and many of the clients would often say, well, you helped us in building the building, but we want to stay green. How do we do that? And so that sort of parlayed into another consulting offshoot of green operations, and I brought that to Los Angeles in the film and television industry, providing green operations to film and television productions. And much of what you see on behind the scenes in film and television, as well as in airports and hotels, is a lot of single-use plastic getting spewed all over the place, a lot of styrofoam, and at this time, this was maybe 3 or 4 years ago, in my consulting role, I was looking for alternatives, and I stumbled across a fellow who was producing this product, and I said, well, why don't we start to do small batches and see what we can do for my clients? And that's really how it started. So that was the sort of the beginning of the business. I had always been an entrepreneur in the sense of I had my own business. It was a service business, but I'd never done a product. So this was a new challenge and required a lot more capital than just the service business. And I was very lucky. I actually was showing my stuff before I even did a formal pitch. I was at a family friend's house, just brought the cups to use for a party. And that family friend happened to have another friend of his who was a real estate mogul from Canada who loved the stuff, was very passionate about the environment, and was my first angel investor. So it was very, very lucky. But that man has provided me with a network of other angels, and that's how I got started.
That's an incredible segue to Natalia, who is actually in the business of putting together female angel networks.
Well, Lauren, you brought the word luck, and sometimes, as you know, like you have to have the timing, be in the right place at the right time, with the right people. And I actually, the reason that I started the boot camp to get more women philanthropists to become angel investors was because I had the opportunity to launch a network of women social entrepreneurs in New York City in 2008. And I grew the group from about 6 women to over 1,200 within 2 years. Okay. So I was, just in brief, I launched this network of women social entrepreneurs from 6 women to 1,200 within 2 years. So you can say there was something in the air or in the electricity. And I realized that in as much as we talk about impact investing, the entrepreneurs, as usual, were ahead of the curve. They had the hybrid business models. They were looking to do well. They were looking to do good. And when they were actually talking with, thank you, and when they were actually, can you hear me?
I think it's a turn on.
Okay. And when they were actually talking with potential funders, what they realized was that speaking with philanthropists, they would say, oh, you want to change the world. Oh, you're a nonprofit. Of course, I'll donate. Or, oh, well, I want to make money, and if you're going to ensure that I make money, then I'm going to invest in you. And there were not enough hybrid investors. The hybrid business models were out there, and there were not enough hybrid investors. So that's really what inspired me to launch the boot camp, and very much creating that bridge between philanthropy and investing. And at the same time, I'll go back to Lauren's word of luck, that she actually met someone who was in her network, because one of the biggest issues is that the women entrepreneurs don't have the access to the networks. And just to give you some stats, because I love them, last year in terms of US angel investors, only 12% were women and only 4% were minorities. And at the same time, when you hear famed venture capitalists who get interviewed at tech events and they get asked, who do you invest in? What do you look for? And they answer, well, someone who looks like me. It's a catch-22. And so I decided to leave the whole business case for diversity, because we know
there is a business case for diversity to Deloitte, to HBR blog, and to all the other amazing people out there. And I'm like, well, let's turn it on its head. So we invest in people who look like us. So let's get more of us on the other side. And this is actually a great transition to Kelly, because Kelly's actually Kelly is also, in addition to all the phenomenal things that she does, she was part of our first class of Pipeline Fellows. And so when they graduate, we give them a shirt that says, "This is what an angel looks like."
In case anyone was wondering why I was wearing this t-shirt today. As I said, I'm the co-founder of Women Innovate Mobile, and we're a fund. We invest in high potential startups, and we're looking, as the easiest way to describe it, we're looking for the next Instagram. We're looking for the next whatever. We just want to see a woman on the founding team, and we want to see it focused on mobile. That's where our interest is. My journey to where I am today, wow, I want to say, if you'd asked me 5 years ago, gee, Kelly, where do you see yourself in 5 years? I first of all, I would not be sitting here, and secondly, I'd probably be telling a story that putting all of you to sleep. I started my professional career in law. I did no subprime, but I did a lot of CMBS deals. So I have that confession to make. And then I moved on to the management side in law firms. And there was an opportunity back in 2009 to go and work with a really amazing, innovative woman by the name of Janet Hansen. And there it was, 2009. We all know what the economy looked like then. I had a great paying job, benefits, and I'm Canadian, I kind of go for the healthcare thing, right? So, and Janet said to me, would you ever think about, and I left. And that has started an incredible journey for me. So part of it for me, looking at all of you, is, you may say, oh, gee, I could only have done that when, or, oh, could I? The time to start is now. It's time to start and take action is now. And if something is kind of feeling right to do it, then leap. So I left in 2009, and that started my own entrepreneurial journey. And as part of that was getting to know Natalia and speaking with her as she was formulating this incredible concept of the Pipeline Fund, and then to be part of that first cohort. And that, kind of this opportunity from Janet and being open and willing, kind of gets back to Lauren's piece. It's not about luck, it's being open, right? It's being open to put yourself out there and talk about a product you're developing at, someone's party, right? You're pitching all the time. It's talking about yourself and what your dreams and your ambitions are, and then people can help you. So to get into that cohort, to have that opportunity to be open to it, has completely changed the way I look at the world and the way I proactively focus on what I'm doing for my own, not only for my own career, but what am I doing to see the change I want to see in the world. I want to see more women founding companies. I want to see more women benefiting from the economics of being a founder of a company. I want to see women founding companies that are meaningful in speaking to the values that we have, whether that is about the environment, or for me, a particular bone I have to pick is women in leadership roles. And I think about this with respect to Lauren. What are we buying and where are we shopping? And so some of this, I know this panel is about finance, but every day we make consumer choices that is financing someone's business. And I would challenge all of us to think long and hard about where we're spending money, right? How we're investing money. It's very nice just to be able to say, well, my broker takes care of it. I challenge all of you to change that mindset. And if you don't become, even if you don't become an angel investor, I would say learn to become one to take control of your own finances. And for those of you who are sitting on that great big idea, take the next step.
Does everybody know Janet Hansen and 85 Broads by any chance? Does anyone here, can you raise your hands if you know 85 Broads? Okay. Well, it's interesting that you brought Janet Hansen because she actually also inspired me to launch. So Janet Hansen was an former Goldman Sachs investment trader, and she ended up starting this network of women, originally just a network of Goldman Sachs alum. And then she created this huge network of women who were interested in doing much bigger things, and it's called 85 Broads. And she went to Columbia Business School, and that's where I went, and I saw her speak when she launched 85 Broads 2 years into the venture. And at the time, I was working as a body double to the global CEO of PricewaterhouseCoopers. So my boss it was an amazing job because he basically gave me all the authorities of a CEO of a $31 billion company. So he'd go North America, I'd cover South America, he'd go to Europe, I'd go to Asia, but I could sign away 10,000 people to a project if I wanted to. But it was because of Janet, and I think that's what these forums are so important, is that when you get inspired and you get to meet other people who, when you take that jump and that leap, you actually have people to go to for help and advice, but also to go for support. So what I do now is I systematically, having been part of PwC, PricewaterhouseCoopers, when Enron happened, it was the accounting industry. We were part of the restructuring of the US capital markets, and then in 2008, it was Lehman, the global capital markets restructuring. So what I do, having seen how it happens with all the guys up there, now I've realized that we have to leverage the multinational supply chains, which touch 70% of global GDP, and how do we get women to be part of those supply chains? So when I say I create opportunities for women around the world, General Electric has a commitment to, say, bring water to 1 billion people around the world, because there's 3 billion without access to clean water. Well, if GE is going to make that commitment and spend $200 million just in 1 year to do that, I'm trying to create women entrepreneurs so that when GE spends that money, there's a woman on the other side of that transaction. So, for instance, now that I just met Lauren, I chair the clean tech sector for the global platform for sourcing from women. And in Mexico City, we've got hotel chains like the Marriott, Starwood, and they want female suppliers, and she's got a perfect product for these chains.